The Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live.
Hello, hello, very good evening to you, and welcome to the Locker Room. I was going to say another big weekend of football where it's a derby weekend of football, Reagan, in Glasgow, but also Dundee as well. And we have got the small market of the Six Nations as well. So we'll build up to that. We will build up to that, and we've got some interviews coming up on the show as well, Reagan. It's been a busy week. Busy 24 hours for us here in the Locker Room. After that excitement last night, Reagan.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, in terms of the game last night, it was great to be on chatting with you. And it was a big night for Rangers as well. So I fully enjoyed it.
Yep. And hopefully you will further enjoy the show tonight. And get your comments coming in. We're on Facebook.
I know we've got two interviews coming on, Michael, because of the Old Firm or Glasgow Derby. I don't want to upset any people. So, what time are we doing the Tino interview? What time?
Well, yeah. So we've got Celtic from Celtic Exchange podcast. Tino, I spoke to him last week. We will be speaking to him very soon, and then after that, we will hear from the Rangers side as well. Because as Reagan, you can't do one interview without the other one. It's a bit like salt and pepper at times, or as I say in Edinburgh, salt and sauce, as well. So yeah, we will do the interviews very soon. Yeah. So Reagan, it's a big weekend of football, as I say, in Glasgow and Dundee as well. So looking forward to the weekend, and it makes a big difference as well, because the two big derbies are on the TV at the weekend as well.
I'm very much looking forward to it, Michael. Should be good. And it's great to see those two matches being televised as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And obviously, the Dundee Derby and the Old Firm, or the Glasgow Derby, depending on what side of the fence you're on. But I am just looking forward to seeing the two games. It'll be on TV. And obviously, be interesting to hear Tino very soon from the Celtic Exchange to hear what he thinks, because I'm thinking it'll be a close game, especially after last night, because that'll give Rangers a lot of confidence as well.
Yeah, so we're going to hear from the Celtic Exchange podcast very, very soon. But before we do, Reagan, I wanted to obviously we'll come back and speak about the game in more detail. But what do you think of the game? Because it will be a big atmosphere on Sunday. But this will be the first time for a wee while that the away fans will be getting into Parkhead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great thing. I mean, it's just great to see Rangers fans there. Celtic fans will be there as well. So it's going to be great numbers. It should have been that way a long time ago. It's great to see Happy House. I hope you're happy this Friday, Happy House. I hope your house is happy. No pun intended. But I mean, it's just going to be a great weekend for Scottish football. It's going to be good for me and you, because we've got a lot of talking points. And Michael, it's just going to be good to be there as well, because for a long time both sets of supporters have been locked out, but it's just good to see both clubs that have they've done the common sense thing. It's glad to see common sense has prevailed, and I'm just glad to see Scottish football being put on the map again, because these are the matches that Sky pay for, and they pay for both sides of Glasgow to be in there, and I'm sure Sky's had a big impact on this as well.
Okay, so get your comments coming in. As I say, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch as well, whatever Twitch is. I'm not actually down with the Kigs in that one, Reagan.
Is that you saying I've got a Twitch? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's something up with your eyeball.
I think you play something like computer games on Twitch. I'm not really sure what Twitch is myself.
But sometimes you feel as though football is a computer game. As some guy used to say, I think it was Angie Postecoglou last season as well. Anyway, so we're going to come back and talk about the game in more detail after we hear from the Celtic View, the Celtic. The Celtic Views correspondent from this game. It is from the Celtic Exchange podcast, and yesterday I sat
Michael,
down with.
see just before we do that, Michael. I mean, I just want to ask you, you about you in terms of this match. Are you glad that the fans are back in?
Yeah, I mean, it will be a bit weird to see it, Reagan, because it's been a few years since we've had away fans either at Parkhead, Ibrox. I think in recent years when Celtic and Rangers has got to a semi-final and final, you only see fans at Hampden with a 50-50 split. But I think I think it's going to be a bit different this year, this season. But yeah, I mean, I'm quite glad that the fans are kind of like back in as well. I saw a picture. I don't know if anybody else saw a picture during the week of Celtic putting the netting up in the away end at Parkhead. So I mean, let us know about the away fans getting back in at Parkhead or Ibrox, but also as well, what do you make of them? Both clubs has decided to put up netting for the away fans getting in at Parkhead, obviously as a Sunday, but also Ibrox later on after the split. I think the final Glasgow derby will be played at Ibrox as well. So yeah, so this week I was a busy bee, as well as doing the game last night on the locker room. I spoke to Andy from the locker room to get his take on the Rangers' point of view on this game, but also I spoke to Tino from the Celtic Exchange podcast about what was his take on the game, and I think I firstly asked him, Reagan, about what does he think of the away fans getting back into Celtic Park. So this is my conversation with Tino yesterday from the Celtic Exchange podcast. I think we're having a few technical issues, a few gremlins getting into the system. It wouldn't be live unless we had gremlins in the system. So we'll come back to that Tino interview in a few seconds when we've managed to sort all the kind of like different issues as well. But yeah, it's going to be a kind of good game, and as I say, just to see both fans getting into the game at the weekend. Okay, I'll stop mumbling now because we've got the Tino interview now from the Celtic Exchange podcast. Tino from the Celtic Exchange podcast, thanks for joining us on the locker room this evening. Obviously the Celtic Rangers game's on Sunday at Parkhead, but it will be made a bit more kind of different this game because the away fans are getting in. So what do you make of the away fans now getting in? Okay, it's not at full capacity they're getting in, but so do you think it adds to the colour and the atmosphere?
I don't think there's any doubt about it, and I know there's some folks that wouldn't be fussed at all and would be Brendan Rodgers and the players just fine. They'll be quite happy to, as I say, keep the head down, do their work, and then hit the ground running on Sunday lunchtime.
I know that you were on the show ages ago when we done one of the European games. In fact, I can't remember what game you were on, but I wanted to ask your opinion about obviously Celtic wasn't that busy in the January transfer window, and a lot of Celtic fans weren't happy about it. But there was one man that they brought in until the end of the season, Jeremy Slope. Now, I wanted to ask your opinion on him, because do you think do you think Celtic will sign him? But B, do you think he's a kind of upgrade on Greg Taylor?
Yeah, I think yes to both questions. So I think Celtic should certainly do all they can to sign him. I think he's hit the ground running. He's landed here with minimal fuss and just got on with it and done a really decent job. And if Celtic can make the numbers work, the chat is that he gets 60k a week at the moment at Crystal Palace, which is a lot of money, and Celtic couldn't get anywhere near that. But that deal's about to expire. He's out of contract in the summer. Free agent. He might fancy a change of scene. He'll have enjoyed playing at a full Celtic Park against Bayern Munich and against Hibs last weekend and going out to Munich away. This will be his first taste of the Glasgow Derby, and I'm sure he'll really enjoy that. And hopefully he's on the winning side. So there's a lot of attractive things about Celtic for Jeffrey Schlupp. And if Celtic can make the numbers work, maybe they give him a decent signing on fee and then a strong weekly wage, then who knows? It could happen. And I'd like to see it happen. I think most fans would. He's been such a good addition, and I think he'll start on Sunday. I think he should start. He's been the man in form. And at the moment, it looks, I don't take any great pleasure in saying it, but it looks like Greg Taylor's time is slowly coming to an end. He'll get some appearances, I think, off the bench between now and the end of the season. But I think right now, Jeffrey Schlupp's the man. We know KT comes back in the summer, and we'll see if Schlupp stays on to provide competition there.
Now, I know that a lot of people said that the league's kind of over, as well when you speak to you and the rest of the Celtic fans, and it isn't a way. But I wanted just to touch upon quickly about the two squads, because do you think that's the difference between Celtic and Rangers at the minute? Because forget about the way that Rangers is kind of performing basically against Queen's Park, St Mirren and Motherwell. But I think this has been an issue for a wee while, where Celtic start 11 before Sunday, but you don't really know what Rangers are going to turn up.
Yeah, someone asked me a while ago, who are Rangers' best players, or who is Rangers' best player? And you need to stop and think. I think Czerny's probably their best player. I think he's a very decent player. I'm being genuine. After that, you're kind of scratching your head. Is Igaman decent? Not sure, but inconsistent. They talk about Diamandi and Raskan. Not convinced. Dessers isn't a great player, but he scores goals, gets a hard time off their fans. But that's it. You're scratching your head. There's no standouts. Bajrami, all these kind of guys. Very average footballers. And I think that's the bottom line. On their day, on the occasion, they can get some decent results. But by and large, I don't think they've got a particularly strong 11, let alone a strong squad. I think Jack Butland's having a poor season as well, for example. Whereas with Celtic, you can just rhyme off the big hitters: Jota, Nicholas Kuhn, Dyson Maeda, Rio Hatate, Arnie Engels, Callum McGregor. They just roll off the tongue. These guys will all start on Sunday, and they all do such a good job for Celtic. And I just think Rangers are streets away from that just now. They're nowhere close, and who knows, that may change in the future, takeover or otherwise. But at this moment in time, when you pitch them up toe to toe, sometimes you see the combined best 11 of Celtic and Rangers from certain journalists, and they'll try and balance it out, and they might have 6 Celtic and 5 Rangers. They're kidding themselves on. That just doesn't apply. I think you could maybe throw 1 or 2 Rangers players in, Czerny and one other if you like, but Celtic are miles ahead in terms of the 11 and the squad. And that's what makes a difference. And that's why we're 16 clear, Michael, and potentially 19 clear after Sunday.
Yeah, you mentioned Maeda there. If it was up to me, you could maybe give him the PFA Player of the Year award now, and basically maybe the Celtic Player of the Year as well. So who do you think will be the important players for Celtic and Sunday? Do you think like the midfield will have a big part to play in this game with Callum McGregor?
Yeah, there's two guys for me that I've been talking up for this game, and it's absolutely Dyson Maeda. He's the man of the moment. He just cannot stop scoring. 27 goals for the season, and there's a good chance that he'll add to that on Sunday. The other guy who I think set for a big game, and it is in the midfield, is Arne Engels. I think he's been great for Celtic, and he's just got better and better and better as the season's played out. And I think that's building towards what could be a really big and important performance for him as well. He's had some big performances in Europe. He's done some really solid stuff domestically. But you know yourself, as a Celtic player, you need to do it against Rangers and do it consistently against them and consistently in Europe. And I think it's set for Arne Engels to have a big game on Sunday. So him and Dyson Maeda are the two guys I'm excited about.
Good finally, Tino. You mentioned about Arne Engels there, and I've heard a lot of kind of Celtic fans talking about. He reminds me. They remind him of Nicholas Kuhn in terms of like when Nicholas Kuhn came in last season. He's a totally different player until this season. So, do you think football fans has a kind of like short span when it comes to football players that they want to hit the ground running, but that's not the case because obviously Nicholas Kuhn took a whole season to get up to match sharpness, albeit he wasn't well at the time when they came to Celtic, and that's the same with Arne Engels as well.
Yeah, I think we'd all love to see guys hit the ground running, and we know it is possible. You can look at guys like Kyogo and Rio Hatate and Matt O'Reilly. They didn't take a long time to settle in. They were, more or less hit the ground running. But that's just not the case with every player, and we do forget that these guys are just human beings. Some of them have moved countries at a young age and left their families behind and having to adjust to a new way of life. Arne Engels signed for Celtic at 20 years of age. He's 21 now, but that's not easy for a young guy. And I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you have seen many of his interviews, Michael. He speaks really well. Seems a very mature young guy, but you can't just flick the switch and say, right, you were doing it over in Germany last season, so now you just, transfer that form immediately to Scotland. But I think he's taking his time with it. And the exciting thing about Arne Engels is he'll only get better and better. I think at the moment he's not even half the player he's going to become. I'm really excited about the potential he's got. I think he's in a great place in terms of working under Brendan Rodgers. And Arne Engels, like a lot of talented players, will move on from Celtic in due course. But the hope is that we can keep him for as long as possible, a couple of seasons, maybe beyond, get the best out of him at a young age, and then wish him all the best as he moves on. But he's an exciting young player. He has taken a wee bit of time to get up to speed. But as I say, the exciting thing is he's not fully up to speed yet, but he'll get there soon.
There we go. That was a Celtic viewpoint from the Celtic Exchange podcast. Tino joining us on the show. Regan, what was the main topics that you took away from that interview?
I think in terms of what Tino's saying about Jeffrey Schlupp, I think he makes a good point in terms of, I think Greg Taylor, I think his days at Celtic are probably almost done at the end of May, because I feel like Tierney's going to come in, and then I don't know if there's a place for Tierney to I think there's a place for Tierney and Schlupp together. I think that would be a perfect combination. The good thing Tierney that Tino spoke about there was the fact that Schlupp is going to be a free transfer in the summer as well, so Celtic wouldn't have to pay any money. And I think he would also be an upgrade on Greg Taylor as well. And I think the point he makes on the fact that Brendan Rodgers is improving players, I think we've seen that year upon year. And I thought it was quite interesting when Tino was saying about the combined Rangers and Celtic 11. I tend to maybe I like John Souttar, Michael. I think John Souttar's a really good player. He showed that again last night. I think Tino's spot on. I think the player that could possibly get in would be Tierney. Obviously, Manny had a very good start to the season, but he's sort of tailed off now. He's not scored in 10 games now. So I think if you're looking for players that could impact the Celtic team, I think you're looking at possibly John Suter, the centre back, instead of Scales or Trusty. I think Vickers definitely plays, but I think John Suter is definitely a better player there. And then Cherny as well. I do agree with Tino.
I was going to ask you the reason why I was bringing that question up to Tino there about Jessup was because not only he adds something to the team, but also his link-up play in the past couple of weeks with Maeda as well. But also as well, Regan, he adds a bit of height to the Celtic team that they've not had for a few years.
No, I think you're spot on there. I mean, he's no disrespect to Greg Taylor. I mean, I've got a cheek to talk, but he's pretty small, and I think he especially gets exposed when it comes to European football as well. Because in European football, you've got players that are strong, physically built. I don't think it's so important in Scotland because if you look at most of the matches in Scotland, Celtic are dominating the ball, they're dominating possession, they're creating the chances.
Well, I mean, as you saw from yesterday's interview, I didn't realise that Callum McGregor was carrying an injury. But however, Celtic fans might be excited to hear that, Regan, that he was doing the press conference today for Celtic. He was out training today, and he's got one more session tomorrow. But he basically says these are the games that you want to be kind of like involved in. So,
definitely.
yeah. But yeah, and also from Celtic, do you think that okay, we done the show last night with Rangers, went to penalty kicks and we won till maybe midnight after the game last night. But do you think that the build up to Celtic works in perfectly because they haven't had a game for like 2 weeks during the week where Rangers went away to Fenerbahce and then played 120 minutes or maybe more in the penalty shoot last night. So do you think that will affect Rangers going into the game on Sunday?
I think that's a great point you make in terms of Rangers have been overworked. They also went to penalties as well. But also to play devil's advocate, Rangers went to Seville in 2022. They played RB Leipzig in the semi-final and then they go and beat Celtic in the Scottish Cup semi-final when Bassey was out on his feet and they still managed to beat Celtic by 2-1, Michael. So it can work two ways because Rangers could be on a high after the other night. They can be feeling really good about themselves. And I think in terms of what Rangers need to do, I was thinking today, Michael. I don't think Barry Ferguson needs to win this game to get the job. I think if Barry Ferguson, even if he puts in a very good performance, and say Rangers get beat 1-0, right, and Celtic score in the last minute, people can say, "Oh, well, Rangers created a lot of chances. They were competitive in the game." But if they go out and they get beat 5-0, then that's totally different, you know. And that's a big thing for them. It's all about how they cope in the game. But be rest assured, they will be told by the management team and by the coaching staff that Barry's brought in that how important this game is. Because even look at somebody like Alan McGregor, Billy Dodds, and Neil McCann. This is a guy that scored at Celtic Park for Rangers to win the title in that famous game with Hugh Dallas and stuff like that, Michael. So these are guys that have done par for the course. They've been there and done it and wore the t-shirt. It's like you always say. So I think I'm just interested to hear what Andy's saying next because I'm interested to know are Rangers going to play that kind of sitting at the back kind of notion, or what are they going to do?
I was also as well, Reagan. I don't know if you saw Brendan Rodgers today, but he was speaking to the media as he always does at Lennoxtown. But they were asking him, as Barry Ferguson changed the system at Rangers, and basically Brendan Rodgers said no, because they've been a bit up and down since he's come in to the team, albeit they've had a few decent results against Fenerbahce, especially the away game. But when you look at the game last night, they had to get beat. It took them 2 penalty kicks for Rangers to win the game. So I was interested to hear what Brendan Rodgers said about the game last night, and how the system has changed, and has Ferguson changed it, and his words were no, it's still kind of up and down.
I don't think he has changed an awful lot, but I think the biggest change for me, Michael, is he's changed the mentality of the squad. He's changed how they react, how they behave, the kind of willingness to win the game. He's also changed the attitude within the dressing room, because if you remember, me and you went on a Sunday, Michael, about 2 weeks ago, and Floyd Clement was saying, well, we had 20 shots against Queen's Park, we had this, we had that. You know, and that's not acceptable as a Rangers manager. It doesn't matter how many shots you're able to have. You need to win those games, because I heard Alex Reid the other night, and he said, for his money, the Queen's Park result is the worst result in Rangers history, because he obviously wasn't alive for the Berwick Rangers the debacle back in the day. So I'm just really interested to see how Barry reacts on Sunday. But I do have some inside information, Michael, that I do know that the people from the 49ers were actually present at Ibrox last night.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Well, we'll come back to speak about that in a minute. That's a Celtic point of view from Tinmo. Now, let's hear from Andy, as well known on the locker room, but here's his take when I spoke to him about the game on Sunday. So, Andy, well, we are speaking after Rangers went through in penalty kicks against Fenerbahce in the Europa League. Do you think that will give Rangers confidence going into Sunday's game?
Yeah, I think it could well do. Obviously, tiredness from tonight may well play its part on Sunday, but I wouldn't be using that as an excuse before, during, or after the game, whatever the result may be. But the players will take a big lift from tonight. You know, the emotions will be high and stuff like that there. But a day of rest tomorrow, probably a light session on Saturday on the training pitch, and then ready to go on Sunday, whatever players are selected. And you know, we've obviously been to Parkhead already this season and in previous seasons, and we've struggled and been on the wrong side from a Rangers point of view, of course, of the results. But I'm sure Barry Ferguson will have the players well reminded that what this fixture means for both clubs, obviously, as well.
You mentioned about the fixture meaning so much to Celtic and Rangers. And I'll mean a lot to the Rangers fans as well, and a lot to the Celtic fans when they go into Ibrox as well later on in the season. So how brilliant is it to see not a full allocation, obviously, but I think they're building up to that till maybe next season or the season after that. But how good is it to see a handful of Rangers fans getting in on Sunday to Parkhead?
It's obviously important, Michael, for both sets of fans, as you've mentioned, because fans are the life and soul of the football club and the football game itself. Because without the fans, the clubs are basically not very much, you know, in all honesty. And fans, you know, speaking from my own opinion, or sorry, my own perspective, should I say, I travel from Belfast every other weekend of a season ticket holder. And I'm speaking from a Rangers point of view. I know Celtic fans travel from Belfast as well, and further afield in Northern Ireland, and even in the Republic of Ireland and throughout the UK, Europe, and the world. So it is good to see the fans coming back to the games. Obviously the Rangers Celtic games, whether it's at Ibrox or Celtic Park, because fans do play a big part, and it obviously will help the players as well. It adds to the rivalry. It adds to the derby. And the atmosphere. So I think it's very important.
You've been on the show a few times over the years, and we've spoken about the ups and downs of Rangers. But like we spoke on the show last night about Barry Ferguson, and obviously he's in the driving seat now, and he knows how to go to Parkhead or go to Hampden basically and get the results against Celtic, whether it's in the cup games or league games as well. But because Barry Ferguson got a big result last night, and you would say that he got a big result away to Fenerbahce last week as well, because it's a kind of like hostile atmosphere. But would you say that if Rangers pick up any points, either at Celtic Park or at Ibrox against Celtic before the end of the season, he will be in a good position to kind of like get the job?
Yeah, so obviously Barry Ferguson knows what it takes. He's played in many games as a player against Celtic, and as you say, at all three stadiums in Glasgow. So he obviously knows what the fixture means to the players and the support, and obviously both clubs. He's been on the losing side and also on the winning side, so he's got great experience within the fixture. But this is the different kettle of fish, if you want to put it. He's on the other side of the white line. He's obviously in the dugout, so it's his first game against Celtic as a manager or an interim manager. He will have the players prepared mentally and obviously physically, albeit the players will be trying to recover sort of from fatigue and stuff from yesterday evening's game. But I think Barry Ferguson has done well since he's come in, compared to what he's come into, the job. So yeah, going into Sunday, he'll be quietly confident that he can get a result at Celtic Park.
Do you think as well that over the weeks that Rangers hasn't been, dropping points, and obviously went out the Scottish Cup too early to Queen's Park? Well, we must say full credit to Queen's Park. They went to Ibrox and they won the game. But do you think that the performance last night, as you say, fatigue will play a big part in the team, but also confidence as well, Andy? Like when you go to a big European game, and when you play a big name and a big manager and knocking them out in the back door, and then you play another big game on Sunday against your rivals, surely your tails has got to be the tails has got to be up.
Although I've said about the fatigue, we had a similar situation in 2022 when we went the whole way the extra time against Braga, and then faced Celtic at Hampden in the Scottish Cup semi-final and went on to win the game in extra time itself as well. So similar sort of situation, if you want to put it that way. Obviously, it will only be 90 plus minutes for the league game, but going to a hostile crowd, 55, 56,000, whatever it may be, Celtic fans will be massively up for it, as will the Celtic players, because the way Brendan Rodgers has the Celtic team set up, they go for the throat right from the off, and they're full of energy. So I would say Brendan Rodgers will have his team raring to go, and right from the first whistle will come out and attack Rangers, and Rangers will have to sort of match that. But the longer the game goes on, who knows what could happen, in terms of tiredness kick in for the Rangers team, or will they sort of rally themselves and see it through.
And I was going to say the negative to that, Andy, is you touched upon as well that we Celtic obviously that Celtic's out of the Champions League now. They've not got any midweek games, and I think as well before the end of the season, I think every team plays one midweek game after the split as well. So do you think Celtic will be fresher because they've not played for a whole week, and the last game was last Sunday against Hibs?
Obviously, Celtic will be fresher, given the way the games are set up. Celtic have had a sort of full week to prepare or go about their business on the training pitch. Rangers have obviously played last night and went to penalty kicks. Yeah, mentally the players will be still on a high, but also tired. And as I say, you can't afford to use that as an excuse. You're going into last night, yes, was a big, massive game in the players' careers, but you're going into a massive game here on Sunday as well. Okay, the title may well be gone, probably is, in all honesty, from a Rangers point of view, but you're going into play for the Rangers shirt and who you represent as a club. So you have to go and give 100% and try and come away with a victory.
Finally, Andy, who would be the key players for Rangers on Sunday if they were going to get the result at Celtic Park?
Well, I think the obvious one would be Vaclav Cherny at the minute. The form he's been in for the majority of the season. We had a very good game there last night as well. So he would be the number one. But I would say Celtic have done their homework, or will have done their homework, especially from the last fixture when the two sides met at Ibrox. So Celtic will be wanting to get revenge from that. You're obviously relying, excuse me, on the likes of Liam Balogun and John Suter for their experience within these games, and obviously the season they've both had. They've struck up a decent partnership when fit and available. So you're going to call upon the likes of their experience and their ability, and then it's the midfield battle is always key. You're obviously going to have the likes of Hatate or Engels or McKeown or obviously the captain Cal McGregor up against the likes of Raskin, Barron, Diamande as well. So physical battle, mental battle as well for the players. So yeah, there is key areas in all areas of the park for both teams, but I think that should be the key sort of players for Rangers.
There we go. That was Andy, our Rangers fan, talking about the game on Sunday. Just before we give our predictions about the game, Regan, I'm just going to tell you a bit about the press conference today. But Brendan Rodgers says it's all about looking to play our game on Sunday, but we need to focus on ourselves. No matter how far in front you are in the league, you must win these kind of games. Barry Ferguson says today, I need to focus on us. I need to focus on us on Sunday. It's going to be a tough place to get a result. So basically, Barry Ferguson knows it's a tough place to get a result on Sunday. Right? What's your? We've heard of kind of both camps in terms of the Tino and Andy. Now, what's your prediction of the game on Sunday?
I'll go 3-1 to Celtic. 3-1, Michael. I think Celtic will just have too much for Rangers on Sunday. I think like the overall squads as well, Michael. I think in terms of like what Celtic can do in one moment, if you look at people like Maeda as well, I think he is a player that could change a game at any given moment. And I feel like people like Rio Hatate, Engels, but to play devil's advocate there, I think Rangers on the break as well. They've got Cherny, they've got Hadji, they've got Agamani, who's really done well. And obviously Dessers has not done too well against Celtic, but he did score last season when Celtic won by 2-1, I think it was. He scored. in that game where Johnson, where Lundstrom got sent off?
I will go 3-0 to Celtic on Sunday. Good evening to Paul Donaldson. He says, "Hi all. The Glasgow derby doesn't mean too much at the end of the day. Nothing will be decided by this game." Well, I was going to say, Paul, try and say that to the Celtic and Rangers fans before the game. Celtic will win the league. The others lot will finish second whenever it happens. And Paul Donaldson makes a comment about the Dundee derby on Sunday. Right, let's look at the rest of the games. That is the Celtic Rangers game on Sunday at 12:30. The other big derby on Sunday is Dundee United against Dundee with a 3:00 kickoff. The other games on Saturday, Kilmarnock Hibs, St Mirren, Motherwell, Hearts, Ross County, and St Johnstone against an informed St Johnstone, you would say, team against Aberdeen. And believe it or not, if St Johnstone wins tomorrow, the climb of bottom spot, that's hard to believe. But first of all, let's get into speaking about the second derby of the weekend, Glenn Regan. Dundee United against Dundee.
Yeah, that should be a cracker. I mean, it's on Premier Sports. It'll be a big audience, and hopefully people will be tuned in to us after it as well. I mean, I'm just looking forward to seeing the matches this weekend. Obviously, there's more connotations on that game than there is on the Old Firm match on Celtic Park. Because if Dundee win that, then there's big pressure on Aberdeen, who plays St Johnstone, and obviously Hibs as well.
Yeah, no, Paul Donaldson makes another comment on the chat. He says, Dundee, the Dundee derby will mean more, as you say, Regan. Dundee is trying to avoid relegation, and Dundee United are trying to qualify for Europe. Far more magnificent matches in terms of the overall season. I was going to say, Regan, as well, it's hard to believe it. It was just at the beginning of this season, maybe towards the end of last season, we were saying Tony Docherty is doing a brilliant job, but it just shows you that if you take Luke McCown and a couple of players out of the team, that they're struggling big time.
And I think that shows you about Scottish football in general. I mean, if you take any of the players out, if you take Martin Boyle out of the Hibs team, or you take Nisbet out of the Aberdeen team, it's a big dynamic. You look at over the first 10, 11 games, if you took Mitov and Papagay and Morris out of the Aberdeen team, they've been a totally different space. Because at the start of the season, those guys were pivotal to what they were doing. But if you take big players out of a team, then it can change a lot of things.
Yeah, no, exactly. And, and I did say to you as well that at the time we were saying that Tony Docherty is doing a brilliant job to jump up from assistant manager to manager. And they took it by a duck to water, but he's finding it very difficult this season, and if he's not careful, he'll be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing for Tony Docherty is it just shows you how quickly football management can change. Because this year it's kind of having a difficult patch. But it's all about these clubs like Dundee sticking by their coach, sticking by him and saying, look, we fully trust you. We fully know what you're capable of.
And that's what Dundee United, I mean, in the first season in the top flight, how do you think Jim Goodwin has took the job? Because obviously he had a lot of stick off of the Aberdeen job, etc., etc. But like sometimes when you see in football that he's actually found a good match, and I think he did well in the first season, getting them up from the Championship and having an okay season.
Yeah, I don't want to be too rude to Jim, but I think in terms of him, I think that if you think of what he's done, it's actually been a perfect match because I think Dundee United suits him. Paul Donaldson will probably come back to me and say the Aberdeen job was too big for him. But I think Jim Goodwin has shown his quality as a manager. And I think if you look at Dundee United in general, I think if you ask any supporter with 8 games to go, would you have taken this position? They would have snap your hand off for it. I mean, what a season they've had so far, and they've also drew with Rangers, drew with Celtic, so they've had a very good season.
I was also talking to Tino and Andy about how important is it for the away fans on Sunday. But it's going to be a good atmosphere at the Dundee game. I mean, they don't have to travel far to go away from home, the Dundee fans.
No, they don't need to go across the road.
Yeah.
I
I always think it's funny when you see it on the telly, they're just walking across the road, you know.
But I think it's great because I think these are two old fashioned kind of stadiums, and they're so close, and it's just great to see they've got common sense. I watched an old program on the telly, in terms of like there was a person saying that back in the old days, what fans of these clubs used to do is one week they would go and watch Dundee at home and then Dundee United away. And that's just what kind of Dundee is. And see these Dundee's derbies, they always seem to have drama and have a great match. I remember the Dundee derby before. There was I think it was Simon Murray that scored the last time the two played, that 1-0 victory. I think I'm right in saying, Michael.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of Dundee United, I think they're in probably the best place. They'll be looking to do what Dundee did to them years ago and relegate their old city neighbours.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you touched upon it the other one. I mean, it's good to see another derby out with.
Yeah, I think it is, and obviously, like, it would be great next season if Ayr United got up, because can you imagine the Ayrshire derby and the Premier League would have the Dundee derby, the Edinburgh derby, the Old Firm derby, the Glasgow derby, whatever you want to call it. Paul Donaldson will probably tell me you've got the new Firm derby as well with Aberdeen and Dundee United.
Yeah, no, exactly. Paul Donaldson says, do you think Jim Goodwin will park the bus on Sunday? Don't know if they will be on Sunday.
I think in terms of what Jim Goodwin will do on Sunday, Paul, is I think he'll go for it because he knows that Dundee are in the doldrums. So I think that Dundee United will dominate the ball. They'll have the majority of the chances because I think they are the team that's up at the top of the league. So you'd expect them to kind of have the lion's share of the ball and they'll create the most of the chances. But as you know, with these games, they can be unpredictable. But also, Dundee have got players in the squad that can really cause problems. Adeyemi, they've got Simon Murray, they've got Scott Tiffany. So they've got loads of players that can cause problems.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, but I'm looking forward to this one. But as you say, I mean, the more derbies we have in the league, the better, and the better will be for the game, and also to selling the rights to TV companies as well.
Yeah, because I feel like before we're sort of going on that they should show more matches like the Edinburgh Derby and the Dundee Derby. And you've got to say fair play to Premier Sports this season, Michael, because they've not just shown Celtic and Rangers matches, they've shown like the Dundee against Hibs, St Johnstone against Hearts, matches like that. And that's what you want to see because it's not, of course, Celtic are playing right. Celtic play Aberdeen. That's going to attract a big audience. If Rangers are playing Dundee United, that's going to attract a big audience. But also, as Paul Donaldson will know, Aberdeen's got a big following. So it Hibs, as we seen it at Celtic Park last week. Last week in the Scottish Cup. I mean,
that was a brilliant support.
Yeah, I mean, to have over 7,000 fans there was brilliant, and it was great to see the camaraderie there between all the fans. So I'm just so glad that hopefully more and more people are watching Scottish football, and then hopefully over time we can gradually get a better TV deal.
Okay, let's talk about another derby coming up tonight. The Fife derby, we're going to move on to talk about that when we move on to the championship game. So that's the Dundee United game, Dundee game on Sunday. Let's look at the Saturday games again. Kilmarnock against Hibs.
Yeah, this has got all the makings of a absolute cracker. I mean, Derek McInnes, he's known for his approach. He's known for what always making his team be hard to beat. He's got some players in there like Danny Armstrong and things like that. So I think that in terms of this match, I think it'll be a really good game because as much as David Gray will be disappointed with the outcome last week at Celtic Park, I think his team is still on a very good run. So I think it's got all the makings of a cracker.
Yeah, no, and I think as well that talking about Celtic and Rangers, maybe Celtic will be the fresher as well. Kilmarnock's had about two weeks rest, and Hibs has played that difficult game against Celtic in the quarter-final last week of the Scottish Cup. Do you think that will make a bit of a difference in this game?
I don't think it'll make too much of a difference because you'd rather be playing. I mean, if you said to Derek McInnes, would you rather a week off or would you rather be in the Scottish Cup quarterfinals? He would have rather been playing Dundee or Hearts in the Scottish Cup quarterfinals. But I think that week off will help the players. It will help them on the training ground. It will help them to maybe go through a few things or maybe 2 or 3 days to work on something different or try a new strategy. But I think you'd rather be in David Gray's shoes where you're rather playing.
Are you quite happy that the Hibs board is skipping by David Gray because we saw it years ago in Scottish football, Reagan, if teams weren't getting off to a good start, they'll be getting the sack after about 10 games, but now David Gray has Hibs has stuck by David Gray and he's done a decent job.
Yeah, he's doing very well, and it just shows you if you stick by a manager, then there's always a possibility to be able to stick by the coach and show him, look, that this is what you need to do. And it also stands him in good stead to go, look, if you are able to prove to me that we have got that you're able to stand by me, I can prove to you in the long run that was worth it as well, because that'll be a great satisfaction for David Gray as well. The fact that a club has stood by him, because I think sometimes as well, maybe the presence of social media might not help him either.
Yeah, so that's the game tomorrow on the Ascot surface at Rugby Park, Kilmarnock against the Highbees. Let's move on to our game. This is the what you would say, Stephen Robertson derby. I know this is a weekend of derbies, but this is a weekend of derbies because Stephen Robertson goes back to Motherwell and is taking the St Mirren side there.
Yeah, it should be good. I mean, in terms of what Stephen Robinson does, he's a very good manager. I've always touted him for jobs, but I'm actually glad that Motherwell went for a different approach, a different strategy, because it could have been so easy for them to go for a Scott Brown, a Neil Lennon, a Ian McCall, someone like that that's been there and done it. But they went for a different approach. They went for a totally new strategy, and I do like to see Scottish clubs going down that route because it's something it's very easy to just look at close at home.
Yeah, no, and as for Motherwell, I mean, they've actually picked up a bit for them, albeit they went to Ibrox so that we can win. No punting spit, because the manager is called Winner, and maybe that gives them an omen as well. But they've actually had another week off because obviously they weren't involved in the Scottish Cup. But how do you think Motherwell season's gone so far? I mean, in terms of when Kettlewell's been there, I mean, Motherwell, I don't think they've had a kind of up and down season. I think they've been very consistent and as well. And we all know how Kettlewell left. It wasn't because a case of he fell the team or whatever. It was a weird situation on in Scottish football where he fell up with the fans, but they've been very consistent this season, Reagan.
Yeah, they've been very good, Motherwell. For the size of club they are, they've done very well. But I think sometimes once the fans go against you, there's no going back. So I think that's what happened, unfortunately, to Stuart Kettlewell. Because I know he's a very good coach. He's a very good person. When you listen to him in the media as well, he talks very well as well. So I think it's just unfortunate that nowadays, like I said, with social media and everything that goes along with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it could happen to anyone. It could happen to football players. It could happen to even us. It could happen to, journalists. Social media is a wild place at times as well. But yeah, this is another kind of good game as well for Park tomorrow between Murrow and St Mirren. Let's move on to the last two games of the weekend. Then it's Hearts against Ross County at Tynecastle.
Yeah, that should be a cracker. I mean, it's going to be really good to see these two go up because Ross County have actually over exceeded expectations. I've not been rude in saying that. I just feel like they have this season because people expected Ross County to be down near the bottom, but I think they're doing very well under Don Cowie. It'll be good to see him because he used to be a former Hearts player, so he'll be going back there. And they're making a change, Michael, because this time last year we had a Ross County manager saying that Scottish football was terrible. It was not enjoyable to be involved in. So it's just good to see that Ross County managers actually enjoyed themselves this season.
Yeah, no, and I think it's going to be interesting how Hearts are going to perform this game as well because they've not really hit the heights of they've not really hit the heights of when Neil Critchley has basically come into the score game, and I think the Hibs without kind of like they kind of lost a bit of confidence from that.
I think they did, and I think you made a good point there in terms of how important that is to get that self-belief in terms of trying to get in your players week after week. But I think what Neil Critchley's done is now got them in a semi-final. He's got a good chance against Aberdeen. That'll be a 50-50 match. But I think in terms of what they can do tomorrow, they need to win to get in the top six. So it's got all the makings of a cracker. I'm looking forward to watching it tomorrow. And I just think the Hearts are starting to go on a roll. They've got some good players. I like the new guy that scored 2 goals last week. I can't remember his. It's not Neuenhoff. It's no Sprangler. I'll try and think of the guy's name that scored 2 last week. He scored 2 goals in the Scottish Cup. Did you know who I mean, Michael?
Oh yeah. It's Ekinyemi.
I don't know if it is. Anyway, he scored 2 goals. The second goal was a blinder right in the top corner. But I think in terms of what Hearts can achieve this season, I think tomorrow can go a long way to seeing them getting top 6.
Paul Donaldson makes a good point as well. Rigging Hearts and the Ross County tomorrow is a bit of a 6-pointer for the top 6th place.
I think it is because, I mean, the last time Ross County got in the top 6 was when they had somebody at the top of the goal scoring charts with the same name as me, scoring all the goals, Regan Charles Cook. So, I mean, that is a very good omen, you know. That was when I used to be a part-time Ross County supporter, Michael, when they had that guy Regan up front. But anyway, that's enough for another day. But I mean, in terms of Ross County, they've overexceeded expectations, and for Paul to come in there and say it's a 6-pointer, that's just testament to how well Ross County have done this season. Because at the start of the season, I'm sure probably a lot of people on the locker room panel would have had Ross County in that relegation playoff.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that's gonna be a kind of good game tomorrow. Let's move on to the last game of the weekend. St Johnstone against Aberdeen, albeit St Johnstone won the Scottish Cup tie and to get through to the semi-finals last week. But I was thinking about this today, Regan, right? And obviously, the player of the year will be, the manager of the year will be given to Brendan Rodgers. Obviously, it's that's what they do kind of like every season.
Do you want my controversial opinion, Michael? I don't think that Brendan Rodgers should be the manager of the year. Just my opinion.
Well, I was going to say, obviously, it's clear that you talk about the manager of the year and all that, but one man that should be in the running for the manager of the year is Simo Valakari, because I mean he's got them to the final, and if he keeps him up as well.
Yeah, I mean, if he manages to get St Johnstone to that final, but more impressively, if he manages to keep St Johnstone up, I mean, St Johnstone were 10 points behind, so it's very, very impressive. So I think in terms of St Johnstone, if he can keep them up, then I think that would be a very impressive thing for him. I think if you're talking about Samuel Valakari, I think he's just changed the whole outlook of St Johnstone. I think if it was Craig Levein, I bet Alistair is down at Cheltenham Races at the moment thinking, "Oh my God, I've just mentioned Craig Levein, right?" But I know that was Alistair's favourite manager. That I think Craig Levein and VAR is Alistair's two favourite things about Scottish football at the moment.
I think he's away. He'll tell Cheltenham with Craig Levein.
Yeah, I think he is. He's probably going to buy him a pint. But I hope Alistair's enjoying Cheltenham. Do you know something, Michael? That's not something that I really enjoy. It's horse racing. I mean, I don't know about yourself, Michael. Have you enjoyed any of the horse racing this week?
No way. That's a kind of cheap joke. No, I'm not into kind of betting. I mean, my old joke is the horse that I picked for my 1995 Grand National is still running backwards now. So it should be.
Remember years ago when the old scandal with the horse meat?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, I think as well that this is going to be one of the magnificent comebacks of St John of any team's season. And by the way, Reagan, I don't know if you remember this at the beginning of the season. I've still got the bit of paper here. That
Oh,
we asked everybody's predictions, and I was the only one to say St Johnson will stay up.
are you sure about that?
And yes, I will show you it very soon in a couple of weeks.
Because I'm sure I said Motherwell would get relegated.
Oh, right, okay. I'll hide that one away. Right, okay. So yeah, I've still got all the predictions there. As for Aberdeen, they would. I was actually thinking about this as well, Regan. This is a kind of derby as well because obviously you've got one manager from Finland and one manager from Sweden as well. Goes across the water.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. I mean, what he's done, Jimmy when he's went in, is he's instilled a self belief in Aberdeen, but it's just quite disappointing that they fell away, especially for people like Paul who go up from Glasgow and travel and watch the matches. Um Paul Donaldson saying there would have liked to hear Alistair's view on the St Johnstone ticket allocation against Celtic. Celtic have been awarded free stands. Michael, what do you think about this? Because I've got my view on it from my side, but I want to hear your side first.
Well, you know, Reagan, they done that a few years ago. They gave Celtic and Rangers free ends of the Skiggerman. It's a win. It's a win-win situation for both parties because obviously Celtic will win the league there, and if things going to happen before then, but and also St Johnson will get double money as well. But yeah, I mean, in terms of that, like, I don't think it will be, um, if it was a normal kind of game, they wouldn't give Celtic free scans. And I think it makes a mockery of the league, especially if the game's going to be on the TV and Sky, and all they see is free scans full of away fans at the game. However, I can understand the point, or I can understand St Johnson's point of view. What do you make of that, Regan?
I can see what Paul's saying, obviously Graham there. But from my point of view, if I'm Sky, I'm wanting Celtic fans to get in as well because you want to see the stadium full. It's okay saying, well, away fans should they get in, but see the big thing for me, Michael, is fair play to the St Johnson fans that went the other night, but look at the home end at Livingston. I mean, there was no one there. There was, the place was dead for a Scottish semi final.
But I mean,
Quarter final, sorry.
but I mean, I made a point to Alistair during the week as well, Regan, that if that game was at McDermott Park, at least it would be a bit more further than it was on Monday night.
Yeah, exactly, because the St Johnson fans packed the away end out, and fair play to them. Just to come back on Graham's point, that he says, I get it's about finance, but seeing that away fans totally outnumber the home fans, it looks simple. But I'm always quite interested in that, right? Because see, like, I get it, Graham, right? And it might look tin pot, but I think it looks tin pot if the place is totally empty as well.
Mm.
So
And I think he sell a game, so you know.
yeah, I mean, if you just look at Sky Sports, for example, I mean, you look at things like netball and the WSL down in England, they're getting a better TV deal than Scottish football. No disrespect to netball or the WSL down in England, Michael, but you think with the Scottish football can get a better TV deal than it has at the moment.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that, yeah, I mean, we might come back to this to cover this, but I know Graham's point of view. I can see both sides of it as well. That's why most fans want Celtic getting Rangers out the division to go get in England. But I think Scottish football will still struggle at times as well.
Yeah, but because as well, if see if I'm the chief executive of Sky, I'm very pleased that St John's not doing it because then you've got a full stadium, the place is packed out, and it looks good for the telly. Like, no disrespect, but that match last week, that looked tin pot, Michael. The fact that there was no home fans there. You
No,
know?
I no, and so just to before we go on to the championship games this weekend, don't forget the international football will be here next week, and we'll be on with Greece and Scotland quarter to kickoff. You'll be going to the home game, Reagan. So we'll be doing a show on that first game at 6 o'clock.
I don't think so. I
No,
could be on the. No,
oh.
is that a Sunday night? I think.
The home game is Scotland against Greece. It's the 23rd of March. So what's that? A week on Sunday.
Yeah, I can be on then. I can be on then.
So there we go. So Greece against Scotland coming up on the 20th, and then a couple of days later on the 23rd, we've got Scotland against Greece at Camden Park. We'll be on at 7:15 for the build-up to the game. Right, let's before we go, let's have a look at the championship games tonight. Of course, there's a big, massive one kicking off at 7:45. Red Rovers against Dunfermline. Tomorrow's games, we have got Airdrie against Livingston, the team that we were talking about there a minute ago. Airdrie against Livingston. Packet Thistle against Packet Thistle against Ayr United, and Queen's Park against Falkirk. These are the games this weekend, Reagan. And I suppose I'm going to say, Keith, what's your pick of the game this weekend? But I think I know what you're going to say. Tonight's Fife Derby.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a bit of extra spice to it. I mean, you could add some chilies and peppers into it because that's quite spicy there. And obviously you've got the Queen's Park and Falkirk game as well because Queen's Park had a great result against Rangers, but they couldn't back it up last week against Aberdeen, unfortunately. But fair play to Aberdeen. And obviously another one that's quite interesting as well, Michael, is Partick Thistle against Ayr United. Scott Brown. I don't know if you've seen it, but Scott Brown had a wee tussle at the side of the pub with Doug Emery last week.
Yeah, I saw photos of social media, and I don't think I don't think that you would want to mess with Scott Brown or maybe Doug Emery.
Oh no, but I'm surprised he didn't shave his hair off for that moment.
Yeah, no, exactly. So these are the games this weekend. Rovers against Glenfinnan, the Fife Derby, that's on BBC Scotland Channel. Airdrie against Livingston, Packet Thistle against Ayr United. That's another kind of like cracking game as well. You
cracker,
would say.
Aye,
Queen's Park against Falkirk.
I think I might try and go along in that game tomorrow. I mean, that'd be a cracker. I mean, Partick Thistle doing well. At the moment, they got a draw against Livingston a few weeks ago. They've got the new management team of Brian Graham and Mark Wilson, obviously. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on. But it's a bit interesting that they've not really appointed anybody yet. So I'll be interested. Because I thought it would be a quick sort of turnaround, but it seems as if they're really kind of happy with Brian Graham being the manager at the moment.
Well, I think Brian Graham does everything at Firhill. He's like the women's team coach as well. But I was going to ask you about Chris Gooden. Like, what do you think that he feels that he's unlucky that he's out of a job? Because I thought it was doing not a bad job at Firhill.
Yeah, I don't think he was doing a too bad a job, but I think the demands of the championship this year has been very good because of the Falkirk have raised the bar with John McGlynn, David Martindale raising the bar with Livingston, and you've obviously got Scott Brown raising the bar at the mighty Ayr. So, aye, the championship's got a lot of good stories. And then you've got your pal Callum Davidson at Queen's Park. So there's a lot of good stories there.
Yeah, we may try and get Callum maybe back on the show at the end of the season to speak about, because I think one of his highlights, Regan, would be beating Rangers. I think beating that. I mean, it's quite hard to believe that he's beat Rangers with two different teams.
I thought you were going to say one of his highlights was being interviewed by you there, Michael.
Well, yeah, I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, I'll take the credit for that, mate. It's fine.
You must have paid him a fortune for that interview. But
he paid me. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
no, exactly. So these are the games this weekend in the Championship and the Premiership. Okay, that's all for us for tonight. Thanks for all your comments.
Just going to ask you, Michael. What about the Scotland squad? Just finally, have you got a take on that? Obviously, we've got about 7 minutes to go before then. So I'm just thinking about the Scotland squad in general. Like, are you happy when Nisbet and James Wilson as well?
I think it's well overdue, Regan, that he's blocking the youth in the squad. I think that the headline from the press conference the day was Stevie Clarke said he's going to let his contract run down. He's not talking about any extensions. You never know. He could stay, but yeah, I'm delighted that they're giving youth a chance. But I mean, I think we've said in the show for ages now is only put youth players in the team, because if you put youth players in that kind of setup, it can make them or break them. But at the same time, I don't know about you, Regan, but when you put youth players in the team, they've got no fear.
Yeah, and I'm so pleased to see Lennon Miller there. I think he's going to be a big talent for Scotland. I'm so glad to see him in. I'm glad to see Ferguson's back as well. So I think the squad's great, and I think there's players in there that's worthy of selection. But I'm interested to know why he's picked some of the players right now, because some of them are not playing in the moment as well. So maybe he's just trying to get that blend of experience as well. But I'm glad to see that he's trusting in the young players as well.
Yeah, I mean, but as we said, that it's well overdue that they're in the squad, and you know, I mean, I know that Lennon Miller's doing it at Motherwell and James Wilson is doing it at Hearts as well, but it'll be interesting if do it against Greece in the double header coming up, and that will only give them a bit of experience as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be saying get me to the Greek on Thursday because they want to try and get into them from the first whistle. Because the good thing for us, Mike, is we're playing away first leg.
See, I think that helps a wee bit, Regan.
I think it does because hopefully it'll not be Greece Lightning. You know,
Hopefully we won't be greeting either.
Hopefully we'll be going round to a local Greek food in Glasgow and enjoying ourselves. But I'll be talking to the people in the restaurants. But I think in terms of Greece, I think they're obviously a good team if they're looking to go to League A. But I think if you say to any Scotland fan at the moment, you'd certainly fancy your chances.
Especially when the second game's at home, Regan. I always say that about Rangers. Obviously, it worked in the opposite favour for Rangers last week. But I always said if any Scottish teams in Europe or the national team is in the playoffs, you would rather the first game to be away so that you know what to do when you come back for the second leg.
Yeah, I think that's a good point you make in terms of if we can just go there, even a draw or a 1-0 defeat. Then at least you know, right, we can go there and all we have to do is win the game. But if we go there and we get beat 4 or 5, then it's a long way back.
Yeah, no, exactly that. Now I think as we're talking about the Scotland game here, I think the 50,000 Scotland fans, and believe you me, there'll be 50,000 Scotland fans there next Sunday, minus Regan. So that'll be 59,000 and 1. I'll be there. Instead of 59,000 and 2. I think that the fans will play a big part in this game, Regan.
I think they will. I think in terms of what Steve Clarke has done, he's brought trust for the Scottish public. They enjoy watching these teams. So I think they know, right, well, if Steve Clarke's Scotland's playing, we've got a very good chance of winning. He's brought that mentality, as I spoke about earlier with Barry Ferguson. He's brought that winning mentality where the players are turning up and they're enjoying what they're doing and they're thinking, right, we know we can trust this manager. He's took us to tournaments and we've got some really players that can impact football games.
So that is the 2 Scotland games coming up, kicking off next Thursday night, the 20th, Greece against Scotland, quarter-take kickoff. We'll be on between 6 and 7, and then we'll be back on at 10 o'clock. On Sunday night, the 23rd, the game will be at Hampden. Scotland against Greece will be live from 5:30. Sorry, that the kickoff is 5:30. We'll be live at 4 o'clock for the game, and then after the game, albeit if it doesn't go the extra time like last night, we'll be on at 7:15. Thanks for all your comments tonight. Enjoy your derby weekend.
Good, I've enjoyed it, man.
Thanks to Regan. You put me in the mood for a kebab now, Regan. So I'm away to get a kebab.
Are good. Kebabs are good. Don't worry. And enjoy yourself.
What's a 5 derby, and we'll speak to you soon. Thanks for watching, and we'll enjoy the weekend of derbies.
The Locker Room, with all the sports news you need. Live